Nasty. Yeah, Big Nasty. Hall of Fame Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, baby.
This is Mike Allstott, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you're listening to the Cannon Fire Podcast.
Cannon Fire Podcast, brother. You ain't listening, and you're missing out. Woo!
To the 20, to the 25, for the 30, to the 40-yard line. We could see history. 50, 40, to the 30-yard line. Run, Michael, run, Michael, run, Michael, run. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Back at you today for episode 133. It is officially week 4 of the NFL season. The Buccaneers look to return home after a successful trip to Denver. And this Sunday, they're going to be squaring up against another AFC West team in the LA Chargers. They're going to be looking to go 3-1 for the first time in 9 years. Say it out loud. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not started the season 3-1 in 9 goddamn years, and they've got a chance to do it this Sunday. It is Thursday, so it's our game preview show. We're going to break down what both of these teams look like leading up to Sunday's game and catch you up on everything that you need to know, Buccaneer news as well. So let's get right into things. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, as always, Rhett Matthew. Joined alongside me, my good buddy and co-host, the Philly Bucs fan himself, Mr. Evan Wanish. And, you know, before we really break down the game, before we get into the news, we do have a couple of announcements. Firstly, congratulations to your Tampa Bay Lightning, the 2020 Stanley Cup champions. They were able to get it done in 6 games over the Dallas Stars. And what a playoff for the Lightning. They finally get it done. It's been, you know, it feels like year after year, they were always just stopped short. You know, 2017, they missed the playoffs. Last year, swept in the first round. On top of that, you've got multiple Eastern Conference final appearances, and they finally get it done. Lord Stanley is taking a year off in Tampa this year, and it feels damn good. But something else. Congrats, Lightning. Let's go, Bolts. Woo. Yay, hockey. But, Evan, I know it's going to be a rough week for you, dude. I just got to wish you luck right off the get-go.
Wish me luck.
Yeah. You've got a lot on your plate headed up this weekend, in particular in fantasy football, because I'm sure you're aware. But it is that time of year again where you and we have ourselves a matchup this week, and I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm at a blistering hot 1-2 start in our league this year, but I've still got a team that can put up some points, and this one is projected to be a nail biter. So good luck this weekend, bud.
You're basically like the Atlanta Falcons. You put up a lot of points, but you just give up too many.
Is that what it is? Yeah, you're probably right, man. I had the Bills defense either last week or the week before when they blew that big ass lead. And I remember I checked my scores at about halftime of that block of games, and I saw that the Bills defense had like 15 points, and I'm like, hell yeah. And then I go check back later and they had like 3 points, and I'm pretty sure that lost me my matchup for that week. But I'll tell you what, this is the only game that I care if I win all year, to be honest with you.
Brett, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
True or false? Did you auto draft?
False.
False. You're going to sit here and lie to the people?
I'm not lying to anybody, Buckaroo. All right, maybe I missed out on like 1 or 2 picks because maybe I was on my phone on, promoting something for the show. I was working, and maybe I just missed something that happened and I wasn't able to draft that round. But I drafted a good 80% of my team by myself.
You did not draft Josh.
I drafted
Allen
100% of my team on my ESPN league, so I feel pretty damn good about that. That's a good PPR league I'm in right now. 2-1 in that one.
You feel accomplished, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I'll feel even more accomplished when we get into this game preview. So let's go ahead and do it. We've got a great show lined up for you this week, guys. And we've got a great slate of Buccaneer news that we're going to bring you as well right out of the gate. So the only news we've got this week from inside the franchise is we've got a good amount of Bucs bringing home some hardware, some national recognition for our boys in pewter, and it feels damn good. Linebacker Levante David was named the NFC Defensive Player of the Month. His stat line was 24 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble recovery, and 1 interception, which we remember fondly from that Denver game. Antoine Winfield Jr. was named NFC Defensive Rookie of the Month based off of this stat line alone. 23 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 pass defended, and 1 forced fumble. God, what a month for the rookie, man. I mean, congratulations to Levante as well. We know that his credit is long overdue, and I'm glad he's finally getting it. But, I mean, I don't know what better first impression you could have made, from a guy like Antoine Winfield Jr. Just a great month for him, and I'm glad he got the honors.
This is a serious candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. This is a serious candidate. Defensive Rookie of the Year's, how it's won is the first step, okay? Levante David won NFC Defensive Player of the Month. Antoine Winfield Jr. won NFL Rookie of the Month. Not NFC Rookie of the Month. Oh, NFL.
Damn. Well, forgive me for mixing that up, but yeah, that's a much bigger deal.
Yeah, but I don't think they don't do AFC and NFC rookies. They do league rookies. So, yeah, I mean, it's a huge deal. And I think Chase Young, I believe, is not playing this weekend, and he might not play next weekend. Pretty big. Pretty big sign that, you could potentially, with 1 or 2 really good games here, really supplant yourself in the top spot for that, Defensive Rookie of the Year. And, I mean, the kid's unreal. I can't imagine what he would look like if there was an actual off-season program and training camp, and a preseason. I can't imagine what this guy would look like right now. So I think the fact that he's playing at this rate right now is a great sign. I think he's going to be a great player for years to come, and this is only the start. So, but we also did have one more award, I believe. So
yes, we did. That is Mr. Shaq Barrett himself. He was named the NFC Defensive Player of the Week after his multi-sack performance against his former team, Denver, last Sunday. So props to all those Buccaneers. They are getting the recognition they deserve, and a hell of a week for the boys in Pewter. So let's go ahead and move on. We're going to get into this injury report for the game on Sunday, and we're going to break down the Buccaneers and the Chargers' latest injury report for today, which is Thursday, October 1st. Happy October, by the way.
Spooky season.
So we have got a pretty interesting list for the Buccaneers here. We're going to go over it right now. First one up is running back Leonard Fournette with an ankle injury. He did not participate at practice today, and he did not participate at practice yesterday. Evan, I'm just going to ask you simply, do you think he plays this Sunday?
I think it's doubtful. Him not practicing these last 2 days, it doesn't seem like he's going to. If you remember, Ronald Jones was in the game to end the game versus Denver last week. Maybe you could think, oh, well, Leonard Fournette botched that handoff, so maybe that's why, it's a little bit of punishment. No, he was hurt, and he had to come out, and he couldn't finish the game. So Ronald Jones had to come in and do it, the last 2 minutes or whatever. So the fact that he didn't practice at all yesterday, I didn't really put too much into that. But the fact that he's not practicing today, a Thursday when the game's on Sunday, I don't think is a great sign. So I think they want to rest him. I think they probably want him ready for the short week versus Chicago a week from today. I think they want him ready, and I don't think they're going to rush it. So I think for precautions, they're gonna sit him on Sunday, and I think you'll just go with Ronald Jones being the main guy. LaShawn McCoy still being that third down guy, and I think you might see Keyshawn Vaughn get a carry or two here and there. So I do not think Leonard Fournette will play.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my follow-up question, is if you think we see the rookie make his debut in this game. And I think we do see Keyshawn Vaughn. But definitely a lot more pressure on Rojo. And I'll tell you, this game in particular, there's been a lot of people. I mean, it's even been said here on our show, but there's a lot of people who just simply think that, Ronald Jones isn't that guy. We wanted him to be that guy this year. They signed Leonard Fournette. He had a good game against Carolina. All of a sudden, Ronald Jones is not the guy who can get you 100 yards per game. This is his game to prove everybody wrong. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and do it, but I would love to see it because, that pressure is there, and I feel like if you're Ronald Jones, you definitely hear what people are talking about. Like, these players are not 100% oblivious. So do you think we possibly see a big Ronald Jones game this week? I don't think Shady's going to go in there and get more yards than him, and I definitely don't think Keyshawn Vaughn's going to be able to get in there and get it done the way that, Fournette and Rojo were working before.
Yeah, I don't know if you see 100 yards, but I think he'll have a decent game because I think they're gonna try to like. This might honestly be like his last chance,
Yeah.
like because let's say he struggles, and let's say like the Bucs as an offense struggle, and Leonard Fournette's ready to go on Thursday. Bruce might say, "Look, like I might give Jones a few carries, but I'm not. I'm relying on Fournette now because Jones had this game to himself. He had the New Orleans game basically to himself, and he hasn't really impressed. So this is a big game for him. I think if he can come out and get some momentum, the thing is, like we said last episode, he's running hard.
Yeah.
He's not going down immediately or standing behind the line. He's hitting the hole hard and
He won Good Morning Football's Angry Runs
he
this
did.
week, by the way.
He did, which I mean, I don't know if he, I guess is mostly the O line to me, but whatever. He kept his legs moving, I guess. But I mean, yeah, I hope for his sake that he has a solid game. I don't know if he's going to go over 100 yards. This Chargers defensive line still does have some talent, so the Bucs offensive line is going to have to hold up. But I think it's a good opportunity, and it very well could be his last because I think he still has faith in him, but I think he's starting to grow a little bit impatient. I think Bruce wants to see him have a good game. He's finally get over 100 yards, get a touchdown or two, be the reason they win the football game. Yeah, I think, I'd like to see him involved in the pass game a little bit more. Last year, I don't know if you remember, they ran that play where Jones sort of goes out to the flat, and it's not really a screen, but it's sort of treated like that. I think they ran it. Well, they ran it versus the 49ers week 1. It was like a 3rd and 20, and they ran it, and he got 20 yards, picked up the first down. Runs more stuff like that. And I feel like Jones's hands aren't great, but I feel like he should be used in the passing game more. So I think just doing that and utilizing him more, you're going to have to with the loss of Fournette. I don't think you want to throw in Keyshawn Vaughn, and Shady McCoy just cannot seem to carry the ball well. So you're going to have to rely on him, and it is a very big opportunity for him this weekend.
Yeah, I think your sample size of Ronald Jones is big enough to where this coaching staff can look at some good plays on film and they can play to his strengths, and it'll be interesting to see, but hopefully they have something like that in store for the game plan this Sunday. Let's go ahead and move on in this injury report. This next one's pretty big as well. Wide receiver Chris Godwin with that hamstring injury that he had during the Denver game. He did not participate in practice. I mean, we're not going to get Chris Godwin this Sunday. I think Bruce had maybe mentioned that possibly for Chicago, but even then, I think it might be pushing it. So I'm not expecting Chris Godwin to be realistic. I'm not expecting him for these next 2 games.
Yeah, he's already been ruled out for Sunday. So yeah, he's not playing on Sunday, and then it's a little bit less optimistic that he's going to play on Thursday. And I think it's another thing where the Bucs don't want to rush him back because what you have is a Thursday game, and then you have 10 days off.
Yeah.
So man, just take them 10 days, right? It's going to suck that he's going to miss 2 games, and he's basically played in basically all the New Orleans game and like half of the Denver game. Yeah, it sucks, right? But like you'd rather not rush him on a short week versus Chicago, come back and injure himself again.
Yeah.
Especially when I believe they're listing it as a groin, I think. Might be still a hamstring, but I just don't see the need. I mean, yeah, like you said, I don't expect him these 2 weeks, and I think he'll be ready to go 100% for Green Bay. So I think that's the plan right now.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to rush a guy of his caliber back. He's a big piece of that offense, and I mean, when he's in there, he definitely makes an impact.
Yeah, I understand that it's 2 very different injuries, right? The first one was a concussion. Now this one's, a lower body. But, I mean, the injuries, you bring him back too soon, the injuries can start to pile up. And then instead of missing 2 games, he starts to miss 4 or 5. And then you just wasted a whole year. So Absolutely. It's rather to be safe than sorry.
And it's important to remember, now this next injury might throw a wrench in that plans, but it's also important to remember that if you miss Chris Godwin, and God forbid you miss Scotty Miller on Sunday, Brady still has plenty of guys he can throw to. We talked about it before. Brady's going to throw to the guy who can get open. It's not really about one player carrying this offense, and I think plenty of people know that by now. But I did bring him up. I'm going to bring him up again. Our boy Scooter popped up on the injury report this week with a hip/groin injury. He did not practice today. Evan, what are your guesses on Scooter's status for Sunday, man? I really think he's 50-50 at this point, right?
I didn't really realize that he was injured until the injury report came out yesterday. He didn't. I don't know. It would be a big loss because this Chargers defense. I know that they're missing a few guys, which we'll get into, but like I said, they still do have talent, and probably besides, like, they had more talent. They have more talent than Carolina did, and they have more talent than Denver did on defense. So,
miles ahead, to be honest.
well, I mean, maybe not Denver, but miles ahead of Carolina for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, just that's gonna hurt if he can't go. And I think, we talked about him on Monday. Taylor Jenkins came on and said he wrote a story for him, and you can go check that out at pewreport.com. Shameless plug. But it's gonna hurt. It really is gonna hurt if he can't go, because now you're looking at Mike Evans, Justin Watson. Tyler Johnson might see a bigger role. That might be a benefit of this.
I'd like to see Tyler Johnson in a bigger role, but I mean, he dropped his only target last Sunday, so he's definitely still in a trial by fire phase.
Sure, but it was his only target, and honestly, it didn't matter anyway because it was a flag. So
that's fair. That is fair.
It doesn't count as a drop if the play doesn't count.
I'm not writing him off either. I just want to make sure that we both saw the same thing. So Tyler Johnson, I'd like to see him in a bigger role, but if I can get Scotty Miller there before him, I'd much rather go that direction. I think a lot of other people agree.
Yeah, and I mean, now you're looking at possibly Jaden Mickens getting more time at receiver. Maybe Surreal Grayson. Maybe they call up a guy from the practice squad this weekend if they don't think Miller can go. It looks like Justin Watson's going to be good to go. I believe he was a full participant, so he'll be back. But not having Scotty Miller would really hurt this offense, I think. And not having Miller and Godwin, that's not great.
Yeah. Now, we've gone over the offensive injury report. Let's go over the defensive injury report. And I'll tell you, this next one gives me some hope, unlike the last two that we just talked about. But cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting with a groin injury, he was limited at practice today. And I've heard the feeling around the team is that it's pretty optimistic he's going to be playing on Sunday. And I think that's really big for the Bucs because after Denver, I thought we were going to miss him for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, this is another situation where I hope the Bucs are really
sure.
Like they're sure. Yeah, exactly. Because you need him for that Green Bay game. You need this guy. And if you don't have him because you rushed him back versus the Chargers, I don't know. I think he'll be okay. I think he'll play. But I think they have to be, you have to be 100% sure that he's good to go and he's not going to re-injure it, right? Any lower body injury or the hamstring, groin, anything like that, a calf, anything like that, it's tricky because it can be re-injured so quick, and 1 minute you could feel fine, and the next minute you're like, oh, that doesn't feel right. So it's difficult. It's a difficult decision, but he did, I believe, limited today.
Yeah, he was.
And then he was limited yesterday, I believe. So it looks like he's on track to play, which is big. So what they're able to do, if he's able to play, Antoine Winfield is able to go back to safety instead of having to play nickel corner. So that helps him out a lot too. So if he plays, it's good. I just hope that they don't rush him back.
And I've got trust in this coaching staff, and I mean, I'm sure even some of the trainers on the team who don't get enough credit, but if they see anything in SMB that says maybe he's not 100% ready to go on Sunday, but he still really wants to play, I imagine they put him on a limited snap count. We talked about the adjustments of Antoine Winfield playing in that nickel spot, and I'll be honest, I mean, he's NFL Rookie of the Month for a reason, so damn it, if he has to do it for 40% of the defensive snaps, then why the hell not, So definitely have to wait and see how that one develops, but looking forward to see Sean Murphy-Bunting suit up and be out there for that defense this Sunday. Last big name on this injury report, outside linebacker Jason Pierre-Paul with a knee injury, did not participate. And there's a pattern here because it seems like every single show we go over the injury report and JPP doesn't practice on Thursdays. So I think it's safe to assume that's his vet day off, right?
Yeah, that's his vet day off. He's fine. He has 3 sacks. He leads the team in sacks, I think. Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be good to go for Sunday and hopefully getting in the backfield and tearing Justin Herbert a new one. Oh, I'm so excited. We'll talk about that here in a second. Let's go over the Chargers injury report really quickly. Some big names on there. Defensive end, Joey Bosa with a tricep/ankle injury. That's what it was listed as. So I don't know if he's dealing with multiple injuries there, but regardless, he did not practice today. Their starting tackle, Brian Bulaga, with a back injury, did not participate today. Safety Rayshon Jenkins with a groin injury was limited today at practice. Their tackle Tyree St. Louis, one of those two, with a concussion protocol. He was limited today. And then their guard Trey Turner with a groin injury did not participate. So that's multiple offensive linemen.
Yep.
And then there's more injuries stacked on top of that. The Chargers have also this season had to put safety Derwin James, defensive end Melvin Ingram, cornerback Chris Harris, and their Pro Bowl center Mike Pouncey on the injury reserve. So not only are the injuries piling up for that offensive line, but I think just the Chargers team as a whole, obviously this is a much different game if everybody that I just mentioned is going to be playing on Sunday. Yeah.
I agree. It seems like there's a theme with the Chargers. Like, they must have the worst, like the baddest luck, I guess, in the league, because every single year there's some type of major injury, right? And I believe, I don't know, I was reading here on the Buccaneers app, it says that Joey Bosa was limited today.
I saw he did not participate today, but maybe that's a mistake on my end. Who knows?
I saw he didn't participate yesterday, but he was limited today. So
okay, that sounds more accurate then.
But I mean, even if that dude's gonna play, so they're missing some pieces. But the scary part is that they still have. I mean, I can rattle off names: Casey Hayward, Desmond King, Joey Bosa, Jerry Tillery, Denzel Perryman, Kenneth Murray. We're going to talk about these guys, and they're solid football players. This is still a solid defense, I think. So the Bucs offense, it's banged up, but they're going to have to find a way.
Yeah, without a doubt, they're a team that can still contend, much better than...
Yet again, one thing I do want to say real quick, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
They're missing 2 offensive linemen, right? And 3, basically. I mean, Brian Bulaga is their starting tackle. If he doesn't go, they're in trouble. Trey Turner's their starting guard. If he doesn't go, they're in trouble. And Mike Pouncey's already gone. So you're talking about another game where I think Todd Bowles is going to blitz the you-know-what out of this rookie quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I know Denver doesn't have the weapons that LA does. Like, Denver doesn't have a Keenan Allen or a Hunter Henry or an Austin Eckler. But I still think they're just going to blitz him.
Yeah. Oh, man, it gets me excited thinking about it. But that was going to be my first point here as we get into the game preview itself. They're going to be led on offense by the 6th overall pick from this year's draft, rookie quarterback Justin Herbert. He had a promising start against Kansas City. He was slinging it, man. He looked great. And then teams got some film on him. They figured him out, and they kind of shut him down. It's what's going to happen when you play behind a bad offensive line and you're a rookie. It is what it is. But as promising as he has looked, the common theme is he just cracks under pressure. I mean, any quarterback is going to crack under pressure. There's a select few who know how to navigate the pocket and really get in and out of there, and those guys are getting paid $500 million right now. So
that guy.
Right, the one guy. So what you said, I agree with it 110%. I am expecting the Bucs to just send the house. They're going to be blitzing everybody. I was listening to the Pewter Nation podcast this morning at work, and I laughed my ass off because Mark Cook was like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Todd Bowles and Captain Fear out of the end zone at him. Like, everybody is probably going to blitz on Sunday. So I'm expecting a big day for this defense. It seems like that's the common theme week after week, but once you start playing this well, like, that's the standard. I'm expecting a lot of sacks this week. You're going to want to keep those numbers up because I don't see really where the offensive line is concerned of LA. I just don't see where they're going to stop him. Vita Vea, he's got a really good string of games under his belt. He has absolutely been a problem in the middle. They're on a backup center. And, I mean, you've just got everybody else around him looking to eat, not to mention maybe you're sending Antoine Winfield. Maybe you're sending Jordan Whitehead. Maybe you're sending Devin White, who I swear to God is faster than 2 or 3 of those secondary guys. it's going to be an ugly day for Justin Herbert if he is not able to read the blitz and react to it. I'm expecting just fireworks all day from the blitz.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say is that Todd Bowles last week in Denver, he put that on tape, right? So LA's sitting there and they're game planning for that. I think they truly expect that he's going to get blitzed a lot. I think Herbert realizes that, hey, you're going to get hit. Like, he is going to get hit. So, that's what they have the game plan for, and we'll see how the game starts. Clearly, I think Denver thought that's what was going to happen and didn't seem to matter. So, but I also think that Justin Herbert is much better than Jeff Driscoll. So,
Jeff Driscoll, who was benched this week, by the way.
Yeah, Brett Rippin or whatever, Ripon starting in about an hour and a half. Versus the Jets, just a fantastic Thursday night football game. just
a barn burner.
Yeah, cannot wait. Love those Thursday night games, so valuable. Well, at least next week there's a decent one. So, I look at it and I think they are going to blitz. I think they're going to send, maybe not as frequent, because I feel like I said, man, it might have been like 70% of the plays in Denver were blitzes. I feel like the Chargers can definitely burn you more than the Denver offense could if you just blitz constantly. So I think they would do a little bit less, but don't think for a second that Todd Bowles is going to take it easy. I think, these guys, this defense, I think this is what they're thinking about. They let rookie quarterback Daniel Jones come into Tampa last year and carve him up. I don't think they're going to let that happen to Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I think what they want to do to Justin Herbert is exactly what you should do to a rookie quarterback, right? Herbert struggled last week against the Panthers defense that, quite frankly, isn't great. So if the Bucs defense is able to play well, I think the Chargers are going to struggle to put up points. We'll see. I think the Bucs are going to have to be opportunistic in this game. Turnovers are a must. I think you got to be able to create turnovers. I know Herbert isn't a turnover machine, but just like Driscoll got absolutely plastered on that one play on the Levante David interception, and the ball just floated up in the air. That's going to be an interception every single time. So, I mean, if you can do that, there's not much Herbert can do about that. So, I would expect them to blitz him a lot. Hopefully, they can create some turnovers because I think you're going to need some short fields.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how they come out in this first half. These past 2 weeks, I think the game has pretty much been decided in the first half. Obviously Carolina, they let them sneak back into the game, but I don't think this team is ready to do that anymore, especially not against the Chargers defense if they come out to a hot start. The Chargers offense, excuse me. But while we're talking about this Chargers offense, we do have to talk about some high points because they do have a rookie quarterback who isn't good under pressure, but they've got some other guys he can throw the ball to who can damn well get it done. They've got running back Austin Eckler, who has been a hot commodity this season so far. They've got a high-volume receiver and wide receiver Keenan Allen. They've got a pretty productive tight end in Hunter Henry. So all of those guys are just some big pieces that of that offense that LA has. And, the Bucs defense, they've played stout, but we've seen quite a few times they get punked every now and again by some guy walking slowly into coverage. So you definitely have to watch out for those guys because they can get the ball in their hands and some bad stuff could happen.
Yeah, Austin Eckler kind of concerns me because I think he's one of the more underrated running backs in the entire league.
Oh, yeah.
He's just so good at what he does, and he does a very specific thing, but he does it so good. It's, he can run the ball a little bit, but he is just one of, I think, the best receiver back in the NFL. I think he is top 3 if you're talking about receiving backs because he can just do so many things and just hurt you in so many different ways. And, as rookie quarterback, they're not going to want, Herbert sitting back there in 5, 6, 7 step drops.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to want, to get the ball out of his hands quick, some screens, some, they're just going to have Eckler sitting in a flat. So it's going to be a big point on those linebackers and the defensive line to be able to bottle up Eckler because if you let him run wild, I think, he could single-handedly really ruin your day.
Yeah.
I think he has the skill set to be able to do that. So if you're able to shut him down, I think you should be all right, but cannot let him beat you, especially in the pass game.
Now, there is a matchup that I'm going to be really excited to watch every single time the Chargers offense takes the field. It's going to be Keenan Allen taking on Carlton Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn because I really think this is one of those that I hate to say it, but I think Carlton's either going to shut him down or it's just going to be a back-and-forth battle all afternoon.
You don't think Keenan Allen's going to dominate?
No,
That's the only scenario you
Hell
don't see.
no.
Ooh,
Let's not
whoa.
forget this is the same Keenan Allen who was really upset about the top 100 that came out, and he sent out a tweet. He tagged Mike Evans. He tagged Chris Goodwin, not Chris Godwin.
Goodwin.
He
Yeah, we
tagged
still
Chris
got to get him
Goodwin.
on the show.
It was like a high school track
it.
star or something, right?
Yeah, this was the show to do it, and we failed. God darn it! Yeah,
We should have had old Chris Goodwin on. But Keenan Allen is a guy who, he feels like he deserves to be in that top wide receiver discussion. And I'll be honest with you, he's talented. He can be a number one wide receiver for LA, but I don't know, man. Carlton Davis has been playing so damn well, and I think Keenan Allen is one of those guys that, he might be able to just add to the list, because I think there's a really good chance he shuts him down this week.
Like the list of Jericho, just like the list of Carlton.
You just made the list.
Keenan Allen. You know what happens when you're from LA and you wear powder blue pants?
Under 20 yards.
You know what happens? You know what happens when you tag Chris Goodwin, when you bother Chris Goodwin? You just made a list.
Dude, I really hope. I don't know if we've gotten the uniform combos. The Chargers are going to be wearing blue, right? Because the Bucs are wearing white for their home game.
Yeah, Bucs wearing white on white. So I think the Chargers will probably be wearing powder blue jerseys with either white or yellow pants.
I think their uni combos are fine. I like the Chargers new uniforms, but I think their yellow pants need to go. I think they're terrible for that uniform. At least terrible looking on TV.
It's got to be white or powder blue.
Yeah, I think.
And also, if you're going to the game this Sunday, let us know how they look in person, because there's fans at this game.
Yes, there is. That is something I forgot to mention, but the Buccaneers are going to be letting people into the games 1 full week sooner than we expected them to, or 2 full weeks, excuse me.
Yeah.
But, there's going to be fans in the stands. I don't remember the capacity cap that they had
think it's only a few thousand, because it's a soft opening. So, and then I believe Green Bay, they'll go to 25% capacity. So
that'll be exciting to watch. But the limited capacity, the way that they're doing it, I think is pretty cool. It's the longest tenured season ticket holders are going to kind of get first dibs at those games. I think that's the way that it needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say it, but I would hate for Joe Schmo, who just, started following the Bucs from Boston 6 months ago, to spend $4,000 on some club seats and get to go before the guy who's had season tickets since 1981. So I'm really glad that they're sticking to the loyalty system for that.
Yeah, I think it's the right call. So, hopefully the Bucs fans can enjoy a solid game. It's probably going to be a hot one, 1:00. So
yeah.
Which actually is a really good benefit to the Bucs.
Yeah.
A West Coast team coming right from the West Coast to the East Coast and playing at 1:00 Eastern time. Holy cow. Normally, you don't see that a whole lot. A lot of times, if they're coming to Tampa, it's a 4:25 start, because that's a 1:00 start basically on the West Coast.
Well, you got to make sure we give Brady all the advantages we can, so he looks good on TV, right?
Of course, yeah.
Those 5 primetime games aren't going to play themselves.
Exactly. I mean, you got the first one coming up here, so
exactly. Very, very much looking forward to that one. So let's get back into a little bit of this game preview. I wanted to talk about the Chargers defense in particular. We mentioned they got some talented pieces, but I'll tell you what, I see a big liability on this team, and I think it's in their linebackers. I'm not saying that they're not studs. They've got Denzel Perryman, who I was a really big fan when he was coming out of Miami. I thought he was awesome, dude. I really wanted us to draft him because he was one hell of a tackler and still is. And then they've also got that rookie. I think they traded back to get him in the first round, Kenneth Murray. But both of those guys are just not the strongest in coverage. So this Buccaneers offensive game plan, I mean, we talked about more Rojo earlier, but I'm expecting a follow-up to last week. I think you get the tight ends involved early and often, and I'd love to see a Gronk touchdown this week.
Yeah, and I think, with Miller possibly being out and Godwin definitely being out, I think this is the perfect week to utilize the tight ends more. I think, like I said, I thought the Denver game plan was pretty much perfect, but now I think you might need to see more of the tight ends. Time to get Cameron Brate more involved.
Yeah.
OJ, Gronk. Line OJ up in the slot and have Gronk and Brate as your 2 guys. Utilize it. Take advantage of it, because, basically, like, you having the best tight end room in the NFL, that should be a benefit to you when your receivers are down like this. This is when it is most advantageous to you. So use it, right? Don't just ignore them. Use it. Get Gronk the ball. Get OJ the ball. Get Cam the ball. Just do it. Like, you know they're going to be, really keeping an eye on Mike Evans.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of those, like, OJ's going to be facing single coverage. I mean, Justin Watson might beat a guy, but I'm not betting on that. Tyler Johnson might beat a guy. I'm not betting on that. Gronkowski's going to see single coverage. OJ, Cam, especially in the red zone. You guys get in the red zone, target the tight ends, man.
Yeah.
I think the Chargers pretty much saw what you were doing in the red zone last week, which was throwing the ball to Mike Evans on the 1-yard line for a 1-yard touchdown. I don't think they're going to let that happen this week, so utilize the tight ends.
Absolutely. It's a game of mismatches. We've talked about it before. When you pair guys up, it's a game of mismatches. And Rob Gronkowski and partly OJ Howard, I don't care who you are, both of those guys are pretty much mismatches for anybody that's going to line up against them, especially those linebackers. I mean, Gronk, we talked about the athleticism that, he doesn't exactly possess, but it really doesn't matter. He's still a big ball catching tight end. And if he can catch the ball, that's all he's got to do, man, because he's just a big mismatch. And I really think that, hopefully they attack the middle of the field, but I'd love to see a tight end driven offense this Sunday. And I'll tell you what, you brought him up. I'm going to bring him up again, but we need to see a big day from Mike Evans. It's kind of weird that he's had the performance that he's had this season. Week 1, he was absolutely shut down. Week 2 had 100 yards. Week 3 had 2 catches for 2 yards for 2 touchdowns, but he had 2 catches for 2 yards.
That's 14 points.
And Mike has said it himself, though, that, like, he kind of needs to step it up. Like I think he's had a couple of balls that he could have grabbed. Like, Mike Evans last year would have made those catches. And I think this year we haven't seen a whole lot of that. So I think if any week is a week for big number 13 to step up, it's got to be this week.
Yeah, I want to say so, but also he's going up against Casey Hayward, who is one of the most underrated corners. The Chargers have a lot of underrated players. I think Casey Hayward could be a potential top 10 corner in this league.
Yeah.
And he's going up against him, and you know that they're going to be double teaming Mike Evans. So while you say he needs to step up, there may only be so much he can do without Chris Godwin, without Scotty Miller. When your number 2 wide receiver is Justin Watson, there's only going to be so much he can do because the Chargers know that you're going to try to get the ball in his hands.
And absolutely, I'm definitely not disagreeing that he's going to be a focal point of that Chargers defense all afternoon. But here's the thing. I think with Brady, Mike Evans is going to hurt just a little bit. We talked about it with Trevor. Pretty sure we talked about it with Taylor Jenkins too. But Brady's going to throw to the guy who's open. Mike Evans isn't really notorious for getting, 3, 4, 5 yards of separation right off of the line of scrimmage. So, with Jameis Winston, him and Mike were at the communication level where Jameis could throw it up. Mike's going to go get it. I still believe that Mike's going to go get it, but I just don't think Brady and him are at that chemistry level yet where Brady can just look and say, F it, Mike's going to catch it. I think he can absolutely do that. I think it'll maybe build his confidence a little bit, but I think with Brady, until they get that offense as a whole and they get that chemistry down much later on in the season, I hope it doesn't hurt him too bad. I really would love to see the 1,000-yard streak stay intact.
Yeah, I agree. He'll get 1,000 yards. Okay, I'm just gonna say it right now.
I think he will. I think he will. 100-yard game last week. I mean, what? He only needs 9 more of those. Boom. There you go.
So yeah, I agree. I think what you said. Mike Evans just isn't a guy that gets a ton of separation, and you're completely right. Yeah, the offense finding its rhythm. It's starting to run out of time, but at the same time, it's starting to extend its time because Chris Godwin's out. Yeah. So no, I was gonna be like, okay, by like week 6 or so, can we stop saying like, oh, the offense, Brady's gotta get used to his teammates' chemistry. They played 5 or 6 football games, like you should be good now. But with Chris Godwin being out, it throws a lot off. So I don't know. I'm willing to extend it maybe another week or so, but like you won't hear me like go on and on about the chemistry, because at some point you just gotta say, hey, if you're struggling, play better. It's not if you're struggling, oh well, there was no preseason, you're gonna use that excuse in week 11. No, right? You're not gonna use that excuse in week 11 because that's not valid. So I definitely think that him and Mike are definitely getting the chemistry down. Mike's, he did miss, pretty much that whole week leading up to New Orleans, and barely was targeted in New Orleans. Had a good game versus Carolina. I believe he was targeted 4 or 5 times versus Denver. Had one, I think 1 or 2 drops It wasn't like gimme catches, but it's catches that like he should make.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I agree. He's a star player. You make star plays, and I mean, I think if he's just catching touchdowns, I think not many people are going to complain. If he's catching touchdowns and not a lot of yards, and they're winning football games, I don't see how you can complain. But yeah, I definitely see a point where he does have to step up, and I think he's going to have. I don't know if it's this week, but I think he's going to have one of those signature Mike Evans games. 150 yards, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think that's coming soon. Within the next 3 or 4 games, I think you're going to see that at some point.
I'd love to see it. I'm a big Mike Evans fan. I made the decision to go buy a Mike Evans jersey this last offseason. Like I think he is probably my favorite Buck on the roster. Like I know I said before Ryan Jensen and stuff like that, but Mike Evans, the difference between Ryan Jensen and Mike Evans is, Mike Evans is that homegrown guy. You want to see him do well for the franchise. You really want to see him love this team, and he definitely does that. But yeah, when it comes to him stepping up, in a sense, I guess, kind of what we had just covered, I think the chemistry is still building a little bit, but I would love to see him break out definitely sometime soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, something we do every single week on the game preview show is a little thing called the weekly checklist. And what it is, I put together 3 things that this Bucs team is going to need to do to win the game on Sunday. If they do all 3 of these things, and maybe even more, they should be walking out with a victory. We're going to do the weekly checklist. We're going to wrap up with predictions. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, we talked about this in abundance, but target your tight ends. You're in the end zone, target your tight ends or mismatches. Attack the middle of the field, target your tight ends. I think it cannot be stressed enough that I would love to see a tight end driven offense this week. And it's as simple as that.
Yep. I think it's with your 2 receiving options down, I think it's a smart move. I think, you're going to have to use your tight ends, and I mean, you're paying these guys $18 million combined. So start to use them.
Yeah. I know people have heard it. I know a lot of people are talking about it. I'm definitely not the only one. But now that we saw what Gronk showed us last week, I'm just excited to see what he can build on. Because he was serviceable last week. He led the team in receptions.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's starting to look better. He's starting to look like he gets his feet under him. And I'm excited to see if he takes a step.
What he was looking like to me was what I kind of expected. The third down safety blanket for Brady, and that's exactly what he looked like. So if he can give you that every week, I'm fine with letting OJ get the splash plays. If Gronk can give you a guy that on 3rd and 4 you can go to him, he's going to get you 6 yards, I'm good with it.
Absolutely. Would love to see how he develops from here on out. Number 2 on the weekly checklist, forced turnovers. And I think number 2 and 3 kind of go hand in hand in a way. They're a little bit related. But forced turnovers. We talked about how this team is going to be blitzing a lot. I think the Chargers are expecting the blitz a lot. I think Todd Bowles is going into the game plan and is like, hey, guys, we're going to blitz a lot. So with that being said, pressure creates diamonds in a sense. Pressure creates turnovers. If you get Justin Herbert rolling out and, just whack him from the blind side and he throws a wobbly ball, that's a pick. And you can win the game alone off of the turnover battle. If the offense is not gelling and they just don't look like they're in a spot, this is still one of those games that I think could be won on the defensive side of the ball, and turnovers are a very big part of that, especially if you're going to blitz as much as you are. And number 3 on the weekly checklist, again, these go hand in hand. Don't get punked on the blitz. Like, you can blitz, but we have seen so many times where the Bucs blitz and they just miss the running back by that much, and he breaks off for a 25, 30-yard run or even into the end zone. You're obviously going to want to avoid that, but I think that's a lot of where those chunk plays happen for the other team as well, is if you send a guy on a blitz and, God forbid your coverage is a liability somewhere down in the field, there's a miscommunication, somebody makes the wrong read, whatever it is, you got a big chunk play that you've just given up to a rookie quarterback. And that's going to hurt these guys because they definitely don't want that to happen, as you said. So don't get punked on the blitz. Don't look stupid. If you're going to blitz, make sure you hit home and in turn, force some damn turnovers. So that's the weekly checklist for me. Evan, do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, one thing I wanted to say is, that's the downfall of blitzing. Blitzing is a great thing, and what you saw in Denver is a blitz that works, right? What you could see a blitz do is you're not getting home right away, and they're open. Because when you blitz, somebody is open. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're blitzing, somebody in that receiving core or a running back, tight end, somebody's open, right? it's up to you to get to the quarterback before he can get the ball to that target. That dude is open. It's just natural, right? He's just open. So,
how fast can you find him?
Exactly, and I think, and how fast can you get to him? And I think that's going to be a big determination on, how often. I hope if the Bucs get burnt on a blitz, they don't shy away from it. But I mean, if you're getting consistently burnt and like you give up like 20 points in the first half, like change it up, please. Like make halftime adjustments. Don't just keep saying, hey, we're just going to keep throwing a kitchen sink at them. No, because clearly they figured it out. Switch it up and make this guy beat you, in other ways. So I definitely agree with your points there. My one, make your kicks. Obviously, Ryan.
Glad
Suckups,
I didn't steal that one from you this week.
Yes. Ryan Suckups, did a good job in Denver. And he's back in Tampa where some kickers struggle. So, every year it sort of seems like right around this time, week. Look, wait. Let me get my point. Okay. Every year, it seems like this time is when we're looking for a kicker. Like, it seems like, it does, doesn't it? Like, week 3 last year was the Matt Gay game.
Oh,
and then
man.
week 4, he comes out and nails that 56-yarder or whatever against the Rams.
Yeah.
Week 5 of 2017 was the Nick Folk game. It just always seems like it always takes like a little bit. So hopefully Ryan Suckup, it seems like he's a consistent enough guy. I think like when he's inside 40, I'm confident. Like I just don't. Yeah, I'd like to see him get a shot at like a 48, 49 yarder because he hasn't had that yet. I'd like to see if he can hit it. And we'll see if he gets that opportunity. But this is definitely a game I think will be tight enough. And I know I said the Denver game was going to be tight. Look, this team is just – Denver was just ravaged with injuries, and I don't know if they had the better roster anyway. The Chargers are healthier. They're not 100% healthy, as we talked about, but they're healthier than Denver. They have a solid quarterback. This is a game that you need your kicker because I think points will matter. I'm not saying it's going to be a 1-point game, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it a one-possession football game. I don't think the Bucs are going to win by 18 points like they did last week. So I definitely think you're going to need your kicker to make your kicks this week.
Well, wait till you hear my prediction if you don't think they're going to win by 18 points. Let's go ahead and get into some score predictions. And kind of like what you said, I have no doubt that Justin Herbert and this offense can find ways to put points on the board. Like, I'm pretty sure he threw for over 300 yards last week. He's definitely efficient in finding his receivers, and they can put points on the board. But if this Bucs defense comes out and they play well and they pressure Justin Herbert, you said it earlier, I just have a hard time believing the Chargers are going to be able to keep up. Like, it could be hard for them to put points on the board. And with that being said, my final score prediction for this, obviously I've got the Buccaneers winning, advancing to 3-1, still first place in the NFC South. And I think they're going to do it 27-14.
Okay, so 13 points.
Yeah, not 18.
Not bad.
I saw you giggle and kind of roll your eyes. I promise, I'm the optimist, but not that much.
All right, I like it.
Only a 5-point gap.
Yeah, so this game, to me, this game, and I got some flack for this on Twitter, but I said it was a trap game. And the reason I say it's a trap game is because I think this team is a team that can sneak up on you, and the Bucs could possibly be looking towards that primetime game on Thursday night, right?
Right, kind of writing this one off.
Yeah, I don't know. It has a funny feeling, but I don't think the Chargers have enough. I just don't think if the Chargers were healthy, I would probably think the Bucs lose this game. If the Chargers were 100% healthy, I would think the Bucs would probably lose this game, but I think their injuries right now, especially along the offensive line, the offensive line, if it was healthy, I'd be like, ooh, like this might be a tough matchup, but I just don't know how much time Herbert is going to have. I've already said I think they're going to struggle to put up points. I think the Bucs offense is going to struggle to put up points. Missing Scotty Miller and Chris Godwin, I think can't be understated. I think it's a big loss, and we'll see how that happens. They need to play turnover-free football for the second straight week. Can't have any turnovers and got to create one or two of your own on defense. So I think they win this game. My prediction is 23-17 Bucs. I just don't think the Chargers are going to be able to put enough on the board. So I think the Bucs do enough on offense play kind of a boring game a little bit at times, but I think they do just enough to get the job done at home.
Win's a win. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And I think one more thing that we need to say before we wrap up, this shouldn't be overstated. I think it was because we haven't said it the entire show and we're saving it for right now. But again, similar to Denver, you shouldn't fall asleep on any team in the NFL. And this Chargers team is definitely one of those that, the Buccaneers in particular should not write off come this Sunday.
Yeah.
Because if they're looking ahead.
Go ahead.
If they're looking ahead to Thursday night already, Justin Herbert's going to give them hell. And they're going to do it in front of fans. And that's going to be awful.
Look, the Bucs are just a 2-1 football team, right? You're a 2-1 football team that went 7-9 last year and missed the playoffs. Like, I understand you have Tom Brady. It doesn't matter. Like, you're still not. Don't act like you're somebody now. Like, you won 2 football games. You've won 2 football games every year. When was the last time you went 1-15?
Well, I can tell you, the last time they went 3-1 was 9 years ago.
Well, yeah, and then they went 4-2, and you know how they finished that year? 4-12. They lost 10 straight. So. Just don't get high on your britches. You're 2-1. Take care of business. Be 3-1. Next game versus Chicago, take care of business. Be 4-1. Then you get to focus on an upcoming Green Bay game, and that's where if you lose that game, it's not the end of the world because you were 4-1. So now you're 4-2, right?
Yeah.
Take care of the teams that you need to take care of. It's exactly what Trevor Sikkema said 2 weeks ago when reviewing the Panthers game. Beat the teams you should beat, and quite frankly, this is a football team that the Buccaneers are better than, and they need to beat.
I think the mentality in that locker room, we've seen it. I mean, obviously, we haven't gotten an all-access look at the locker room this season. But whenever the Bucs release any type of, Bruce Arians post-game speech, all these guys are in the locker room, and everything that they say, they always go back to, this is a great win, let's learn from it. And it seemed like last year, when guys would win, didn't matter who they beat. It was, it was a party, it was a celebration, it was yelling, everybody's throwing their shirts and stuff, and that's fine and dandy. But I think this Buccaneers team is definitely going the route that you suggested, something maybe they haven't done for most of this decade, but it's business as usual. You got to beat this team, and you just got to move on, and that's what it is. I don't think the Bucs are going to be overlooking anybody. Bruce Arians says it every single week. He's like, we're not anyone to overlook anyone. So still a 2-1 football team, just like you said. A lot of fans, like myself, are very damn excited about this 2-1 football team, first place in the NFC South. I'm going to say that as long as they're there. And it's definitely going to be an interesting game this Sunday. But both of us have the Buccaneers winning. Hopefully you do too. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's just about going to do it for this episode of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Thank you so much for listening on any of our podcast outlets or watching with video over on YouTube. We've got a little bit of an announcement as well. A little while ago, we told you guys to go over to Creative Loafing Tampa Bay and nominate us for Best Local Podcast. Well, we were nominated. Voting began, and it ended in September. The results came out today, and we did not win back-to-back Best Podcast in Tampa Bay. But I'll tell you what, we got second place. And with that being said, we didn't put up nearly as strong of a campaign as we did last year. And I just want to take a second to appreciate anybody who voted for us. First off, the website's a pain in the ass. So if you voted for us, legitimately thank you, because it was hard for me to vote for myself the one time that I did it. So we got second place. It is what it is. We got it last year. All of it was in part thank you to you guys for listening to our show and showing us the support as well. It truly does mean the world. With that being said, let's go get them next year. But make sure you follow the show on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast. Basically the best place for updates on the show and any Buccaneer news as it happens. When it comes to Bucs news as it happens, you can follow my co-host on Instagram at Bucs_daily, the #1 Bucs fan page on the IG. And you can check him out on Twitter at EvanNFL. You can follow myself on Instagram and Twitter at Retticus, RHETTAKUS. And if you follow me there, I promise I will follow you back. Ladies and gentlemen, we will talk to you after the game. I am Rhett Matthew, signing off for Evan Wanish, and we'll catch you next time. Go Bucs.